Hell, whatever you do, don't. You can try, but don't. Just don't do that. But what you can do, let's start talking about Pilot Pass today. Welcome back to the show, Dale. How are you today?
I was gonna let start, but you said don't let start. So
I messed you up today.
The one thing I can't do is start.
That's okay. What we're talking about today is the game show. We went with game show today. It is called Don't. A little game show on the ABC network, hosted by maybe one of our favoriteest people in the whole wide world, Adam Scott. Is that true?
Yes, absolutely. I loved him in Parks and Rec, and of course, I loved him in The Good Place, and everything he does is great, with the exception of Created Party Down. Love everything else he's ever done. That's the weakest thing he's done in his whole career is the thing he created. It's okay. Everybody in it is good. It's just not as good as everything else it's competing against, oddly enough. But no, he's great in everything he's ever been in ever.
These things happen, but we do love Adam Scott. You're not always going to be perfect, but if you're batting like 900, you're doing all right.
And so, the show is also with this. It was a 7 out of 10, so it wasn't terrible. I'm just used to everything he's in as a 9 or a 10, so it's a little weird to see him off his game.
I look forward to seeing what your rating is at the end of this episode about this show. Don't. We have a gluttony, I guess, of game shows now that the world has come to an end and we can't film new things anymore. So there's been a whole bunch come out, especially ABC.
Still better than the writer's strike when they did the Survivor shows. I'll take game shows over the Survivor shows any day.
How are those still in our lives, by the way? If it would have been 2000 and we'd have had this conversation, there's no way we'd have guessed it was still something in our lives.
Let's move on before I get depressed.
Okay. First aired June 11th of just this last year. The idea of the show is in each episode, a team of 4 people is invited to participate in 5 games, each game worth up to $20,000 with an additional $20K available for the don't push button and other things and blah, blah. Each game has a title and you have to participate. We have friends, we have family, they even had ex-wife and ex-husband participating in one of these. What about these teams that we're looking at here in this movie, in this TV show?
It's a family from, is it New York?
I believe you're correct. Or Jersey.
Jersey, New York. Okay, well, I was about to say one or the other, but no, they are not. So either they are very fine people, Americans, or they are not. I'll leave that up to them. But it's a family with one of their cousins, I believe. It's a husband and wife and 2 cousins or something like that. But they are competing to attempt to win the total $100,000, and in doing so, they succeed and they fail, as people often do on game shows.
Yes, about 60% on that. Dale, who would be your 3 people that you would bring along with you?
I would probably take you.
Okay, that's a good decision.
I would take Chris Gabrish for 2 reasons. One, he does know a lot.
Yes.
Insufferably so.
That's true.
So much insufferably so that when he did fail and got punished or hit with something, that would just be a joy in and of itself. So there's no downside.
Yes.
If he gets it right, the team's good. If he gets it wrong, he's embarrassed on national television and possibly hurt. What's the downside? The other person would probably be, do they have to be alive?
No, you can bring Abe Lincoln if you want to.
No, I was going to say, then Socrates.
Okay, that's a good call. I'm bringing Abe Lincoln then with me, as well as Vincent Gallo. Yes.
Vincent Gallo? Okay.
Vincent Gallo and Regis Philbin, because I miss him.
No, I take it back. If they don't have to be alive, that means they can also be from the future. So I'm going to go with the first cyborg human being with all the information of human knowledge.
Do we not have that already?
Well, yes.
Isn't that called Alex Trebek?
I'm already on the show, so
okay.
I have to have somebody else.
Okay. I'm excited that we're talking about a game show today. This is one of my guilty pleasures. If you give me a good game show, then I'm probably going to be in. I might at least be there with you for a few episodes. These are things that we got a lot when we were little kids before the reality show.
Well, let's talk about, for just a second, Price is Right and things like that. When you're homesick for the day, you're watching some Price is Right all morning. That's all you're doing. And you know what? We got to have a pilot pass for each one of the different hosts throughout the years for that at some point, maybe a special 3-part special on that. But game shows are just, a great way to watch other people succeed. And you feel vindicated, or they fail and you think I was smarter than them, with the exception of Jeopardy.
I feel like that we would not want to go on a game show for probably the same reason. It's a very meta reason, but it's very important, because when you get that $50,000 prize at the end of Price is Right, you have to pay like $20,000 taxes on that thing.
Yes,
No way.
That's the one thing they don't. It's like, wait, why can't they just pay the taxes? Oh, because that's considered winnings too, and you have to pay taxes on that. There's
Yep.
no way around it. Yeah.
So no chance for me. I have been on Prices Right before in the audience, but not on the stage. That's as close as I've been to Drew Carey as well. So he's my favorite host, only because I've been in the house with Drew Carey. Obviously, I would have put my hand in Barker's pocket if you'd asked me to. So, it is what it is. How did you think Adam Scott as a host is? I don't think he's really ever hosted anything before. So
fantastic. He's just lovable. He's America's Adam Scott. He's the Adam Scott of American actors. He's just, he's the Ryan Reynolds of TV actors. He's the American Ryan Reynolds is what I would say. He's just lovable on every level, and he's funny and he's quirky, and he gets a little embarrassed when other people embarrass themselves. So it's always nice to see. But he always kind of, he's empathetic as well. But he can also do a little bit of backstabbing, which is kind of nice to see too.
Oh yeah,
so, he was a great choice for this. Yeah,
I agree completely. They definitely played to his strengths and made it a little bit weirder for him. And they have the different camera shots where it kind of like it's not while they're filming stuff, which I really enjoy.
Well, I guess we should point that it's one of the weird things about this show too is, oddly enough, Ryan Reynolds is one of the producers and narrates the show.
Yes.
Certain aspects of the show, they have a narrative to them that there's no reason for in a game show. For instance, the button that they have to hit to double the pricing at one point. There's a narrative that his father abandoned him as a child, and so the button always keeps one seat open in the front row for his father to return. And then they cut to the seat, and it's no one's there, and you feel sad for this button. That makes no sense. But you got to love great commentators. Ever since, what was it? The one where they overdubbed the Japanese games with the American voices.
Oh, I missed that
X
show
Games,
so much.
Was that it was that, Wipeout was great. I love when the commentators just really make it their own and just have fun with it. Something a la dodgeball, or something like that. And this show takes that to almost the nth degree because Ryan Reynolds is just all over the map as the narrator. Has half of what he says has nothing to do with the show, or he's just throwing in zingers in his own jokes, and that's what makes this different than pretty much any other game show I've seen. Is that it's an excuse for these two guys to act like jackasses on air.
Absolutely, and they do a perfect job of that. Did you have a favorite moment from this first episode? It could have been with the contestants. They were, I'm always fascinated by how contestants are on shows. We're so used to cameras now and being on TV that it's not as fun as it used to be. I think a lot of times there's not a deer in the headlight look for most of them. And there was definitely one member of the family that was a show off. You could say they were the performer of the four. And obviously you need that for TV to be interesting, especially since it's a show that's not very fast moving. I started that whole thing with saying, did you have a favorite part? So I'm going to circle back around. Did you have a favorite part?
One, I would say the joke about the button and his father, which we already was, that just let me know I was on something totally different. But also, gosh, there was a bit, for some reason that you rambled and I forgot the other part that I did find enjoyable. But probably when they were having to eat the peppers, because I love spicy food. But I also know the torment of going way past your limit. And they didn't even just make him eat a pepper, which we've all seen on, competition eating shows, but they put him on a treadmill. And as a person with a very delicate stomach already who eats spicy food like crazy and suffers for it, the idea of walking while being forced to eat hot food just is laborious. That just seemed terribly cruel, and it was wonderful.
Yes, I was terrified for that fellow as well as he was doing that. I really enjoyed Blink because is it not fact that if you don't blink for longer than 60 seconds, you're a serial killer? Isn't that a factual statement?
I think you it's a serial killer at 60, and at 65 you die.
Okay.
It's like it's not having sleep for 6 months. It's something like that. Yeah.
The family member that won that one that made it all the way in, she I think she could have done that for about 3 days straight, and she'd have been good to go.
Yeah, it was creepy, honestly, to watch that one.
Yeah.
You know what? One of the other bits I was one of the questions that I was wrong. I went through all 3 out of the 4 answers and was wrong. And then when they finally gave the answer, I went, oh, that's literally so obvious. And it was, which city is closer to Africa than any other city?
Mm-hmm.
And, there was something, there was like, something in Florida, there was something in California, there was like Maine, and then there was some other, city like Cairo or something weird like that. And it wasn't until I pulled out my globe and I looked at it and I was like, the answer is so obvious by like hundreds of miles, like visually. You just don't visualize things in a globe. You visualize it on a map. And so the answer I was like, oh, it's like, if you just had it in front of you, you would have seen it immediately.
Yep.
And I don't know why, but that one really got me. I was really pissed off that my brain couldn't think of things in 3 dimensions.
I really liked extending off of that, how they did make it easy because they wanted people to win. As you go through some of the episodes, you see like they're going to give these people every opportunity in the world to win the darn game because they're trying to give away money. This is not one of those games that's trying to fleece them out of anything. I'm not saying Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was trying to fleece people, but obviously they weren't trying to give out that cash.
Right.
But,
I mean, they did always start with an easy one. They wanted you to take home $10,000.
Yeah.
They wanted everybody to get about halfway through. If you were on the show, you were on to get about halfway, 3/4 of the way through. But the million, they definitely weren't wanting you to take home. Yet this one, they are just, it feels like it's probably Ryan Reynolds' own private money where he's like,
Exactly.
you know what, I'm probably gonna have to pay taxes on this at the end of the year. I might as well give it away and write it off as charity because I pay Canadian taxes. I don't know how their tax law works up there, but that could very well be how it works. And we'll never know because I will not Wikipedia that.
I really hope that it is. As far as I'm concerned, that's fact. Stamp it.
Yeah.
It's now fact. The thing that on the opposite end of the spectrum that I actually did not enjoy, and I'm kind of curious how you felt, is I felt it was slow.
I did too.
I know you have to do an hour show for this kind of thing to be able to balance paying for it and everything, but this is a 30-minute show at best.
But then I would have upped the number of games. 5 games wasn't enough. It should have been 7. They could have put in 2 more and moved it along, or I don't know, put in some more funny bits. Maybe have an intermission where the intermission's supposed to be relaxation, but then they don't tell them that the intermission is another test that they're not told about. I don't know, something weird like that where nobody, the intermission is always some test where they send them to the green room, and it's if they say a certain word or don't say a certain phrase, then in every episode something like that would change.
Right.
Where when you go to the green room, maybe even by second season you're aware you're being filmed, but you still have no idea what they're waiting. So, there's 5 minutes right there that you could kill that would have kept that a little more interesting. Plus you would have heard all the people talking. I've always wanted to see that in between the game show where people are getting psyched up or angry at themselves or talking to their partners. Maybe that's something they could do a show on, or could have worked very well in this one with how it was kind of breaking out into different types of game shows already.
And I think that's a good reminder that just because this is a game show does not mean that the pilot is going to be perfect. Just like a show like Holy Moly, the first year of that, the putt-putt game, which I love, and I can't wait to talk about that. The course was completely different than the second season because they figured out they had to change speeds and there had to be something a little different to make it
I just
difficult.
Watched season 2 wrap up with the one girl taking 2 perfect putts in a row. It was ridiculous. Yep. Totally just crushed it. And spoiler alert. But that's a lot of fun too. That's Rob Riggle, right? Isn't he the comedic one?
Yes.
That's a great show.
So, I mean, even as I've watched other episodes, I feel like they've gotten in the flow a little bit better. I don't really want to talk about specifically any of those, but I feel like it does ramp up.
I was going to say Wipeout was like that too. The first half of the first season before they start changing the course, it's a little slow, although it's fun to watch people fall in water.
Right.
But you could tell after even filming a few and editing a few, they were like, okay, we're going to have to start changing the course. People are figuring this out, but also we're going to have to cut this a little faster. We're going to have to intercut it with multiple people doing the course at the same time and showing how they're working against, each other at the same part. And I think all shows, especially game shows, are going to, every show I think has to just figure out its flow.
I've never been more excited to ask this question so far in Pilot Pass, but would Don't be better as a movie?
Yes, but here's why.
Yes.
It's a movie about the creation, about the TV show Don't, starring Ryan Reynolds, hiring Adam Scott to be in the show. Hank Azaria plays the character Brockmeyer, who was initially brought in to possibly be the host, but it turns out it doesn't, and he doesn't work out. Adam Scott ends up getting it at the end. Greg Kinnear is tried out. Basically, just I want to go through all the people that I enjoy. John Turturro, But yes, when I watched the movie Don't, where you get to see the creation of this show in a totally fictitious manner, kind of like Quiz Show. Well, not Quiz Show is right, but something akin to that where it's looking back on how this famous show got made, but it's very clearly a lie. Yes, 100%. I'm watching 90 minutes of that.
So let's play Netflix now. This is a segment where we like to talk about other shows that you might watch if you enjoyed this show. It's not a one-to-one correlation. It could be any random number of things. Mine's going to be a little random today. Let me start with you, though, first, Del. What would you recommend to the people, or do you think that next folks would recommend if they watch Don't?
You know what? Going from the acting as opposed to, or maybe if you really like Adam Scott, hop over and watch The Good Place, which is an amazing Michael Schur show where he plays a demon. He's not in every episode, but it's worth it. If you just like him personally, hop over and watch Parks and Rec. He does an amazing character called Ben Wyatt that's just lovable, but still somewhat snarky. And that's just if you just want to watch Adam Scott. Otherwise, game show wise, Family Feud comes to mind for some reason. It's two family. It's you're having to watch very close knit groups bicker among themselves as they try to succeed. Where most shows are one person against one person. I really like that they're forcing these teams to go together. So, when one person fails, everybody kind of yells at them when they do something stupid.
Right.
So Family Feud is very much like that to me, except you got two of them going head to head.
I love those recommendations. I'm going to give you two as well. We're going to start weird, and we're going to come back to weirder.
Double Dare, but Family Double Dare.
Oh, wow. So good. So good. There is a subreddit for Japanese game shows. I'm just saying, go to that and follow that. What my actual suggestion is, what just happened with Fred Savage? I think that the playfulness of this show really works well with what they were doing on that show. It was kind of a reality show, but it wasn't really a reality show. You got the behind the scenes stuff as well. And just the absurdness of that show, I think pairs well with Don't.
Oh, right. The one that, did we have done an episode or did we not yet on that one?
It's a lost episode. Again? What just happened?
What just happened? First of all, we should go back and unlose that one, but redo it again because you're right. It is in the same vein, but it's basically an after show talk show about a show that never exists, where you see the last 30 seconds of whatever this drama is that everybody's engaged in, like Game of Thrones. You're right. That's just a fantastic show too. Yeah,
I would love to watch an after show about Don't. You could sign me up for that. So we've got to the important parts of the show. Is this anyone's mountaintop? We keep working on the title. We're going to figure it out. Right now, it's going to be Mountaintop. We're calling it the Mountaintop. Is anybody that's involved in the show?
Jordan Dowski's the Mountaintop.
Yeah, there you go. Holy Mountain, but yes.
Holy Mountain. Sorry, you're right. Well, the Holy Mountaintop.
Yeah,
let's see. No, I mean, clearly Adam Scott has done so many great things other than this. Ryan Reynolds, I mean, just in Deadpool. Hell, just his Mint commercials. I mean, he owns major stock in a mobile company now, a mobile cell phone company, and I'm enjoying those commercials more than some of the stuff we're having to review for this podcast. That's good for him as an actor. But I mean, Deadpool, yeah, I mean, he's funny in everything he does. And the four people that were the family, that you know what, that might be their mountaintop because they'll probably they're not probably banking on a movie after this based on their lives. So yeah, and even when you and I produce Don't the movie or Don't film this, something like that with Ryan Reynolds, yeah, we probably will hire actors to portray those people. So that was probably it for them.
Smart, good choices. How about, is this the mountaintop for punching yourself in the face?
I don't know. I've seen once or twice somebody take a really good punch to the face. Maybe even an Umbrella Academy that I just had to watch that we should really do on here because the difference between season 1 and season 2, oh boy, somebody got paid to hire writers. And let's see, that was a pretty good punch to the face. So no, not even punches to the face. Sorry.
Boo. I'll take it, Alex. I'm sure like there's some 80s movies with 10-year-olds that punch each other in the face.
Yeah, there's got to be, right? Yeah.
I'm sure. The people have been waiting for it with bated breath. I need to know.
Quit eating bait, people.
I know. Eat bacon. Come on now. Would you recommend the TV show Don't to the people out there into the world. Dell, what do you say?
Here's the thing: is after one episode, I felt like I got it, but I didn't realize that they now have like 25 or 30 different Don't games. So it definitely expands. Don't get clocked. Don't get tired. Don't leave me hanging. Don't look back. Don't lose your grip. So now that I realize they had so many, I might want to go back and kind of watch these. I'm always going to love Adam Scott. I'm always going to love Ryan Reynolds. It's definitely weird, but the pacing, like you said, is a big problem. If they can get past that and kick it into high gear, this could be a show I would definitely look forward to tuning in, just like I used to with Wipeout or things like that. I mean, I don't ever get bored watching The Price is Right. I can watch it now, 40 years old, late at night. I'm still not ever bored by that show. So they got a little work to do.
It's a push for me. It is slow, and so that's why I've watched a whole heck of a lot of other ones. I've watched a few other ones, but the pacing is something that they can work on. That's an easy fix. I mean, again, if you're adding if you're adding games and that kind of thing, it will make the pace of the show better. Even though you look at there's a show on Netflix, I don't remember the name of it, but it's 24 hours. You have to stay up and then you have to answer game show questions, but they have it in 30 minutes. So I don't see why you couldn't have done this one in 30 minutes as well. But again, network versus Netflix, I get it.
But also, see, that's why I'm thinking, boy, what must have been like to sit in the studio audience and watch this one live? If I'm kind of bored watching this one, only 5, I mean, obviously they filmed this over a couple of hours, so I just couldn't imagine being that interested that long. Where it's like The Price is Right. I've known people like you that have gone and they're like, the whole time it's fun. Like the whole time you're just having a blast. That I would say get 1 or 2 or 3 in. If you definitely dislike it, don't continue, obviously. If you're like, oh, I'm going enjoying where this is going, keep it rolling. But here's the other thing. It's a game show. There's no story. There's no narrative. There's no characters you have to keep up with. So you're not losing anything if you drop out, jump ahead a season, and jump back in. You're not losing anything if you only watch the finales to see who wins. It's a game show. You're not losing anything story-wise.
I'm begging the people, instead of watching 90 Day Fiancé, just watch Don't, please. It's just better for the whole society.
It is better than the reality show competitions, for sure. 100%. Maybe the Great American Race. That was the only fun one because they actually had to compete and do stuff that was interesting. They went around the world. Everything else, nope. I would rather watch a game show any day of the week.
This has been another episode of Pilot Pass, here with your host, Dell and Matthew. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can find us on all the social medias. I guess you can also download this wherever you download podcasts from, even in that place that Dell does it from.
Matt, I'm going to tell you, it's a hint. If you're downloading it, it's on the internet.
It is indeed. That's a good
you
call.
You don't download them from the back of cars. They don't just fall off like the mob. Yeah. No, it's got to be it's got to be uploaded to the internet for other people to download it.
Well, I've got tapes. If anybody wants to see me, I'll pop the trunk. I'll give you a tape. We'll be all good.